Thanks for joining us on the newsroom. Lawmakers at the Ondo State House of Assembly have served an impeachment notice to the State Deputy Governor Agbola Ajayi. The impeachment notice was signed by 14 lawmakers at the State House of Assembly. The House had earlier today commenced impeachment proceedings against Ajayi on allegations of gross misconduct. The move is coming days after the Deputy Governor defected from the All Progressives Congress to the People's Democratic Party. Ajayi, who was falling out with the State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, has also indicated interest to run against him in the forthcoming October governorship polls. President Muhammadu Buhari has reappointed Umar Dambata as the Executive Vice Chairman, Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC). Senate President Ahmed Lawan disclosed this at plenary when he read Buhari's letter of request for Dambata's screening and confirmation. Once confirmed by the Senate, Dambata will begin a second term of 5 years as head of the NCC. The acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ibrahim Magu, spent last night in police custody. This was after he was grilled for about 6 hours by a presidential panel headed by Justice Issa Sanlami, a former president of the Court of Appeal. Magu was detained at the Force Criminal Investigation Department headquarters in Area 10, Gariki, Abuja, and is expected to face further interrogation today at the presidential villa. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party has asked the acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ibrahim Magu, to step aside. The PDP argued that the allegations levied against him, Magu has lost the moral rectitude to continue to preside over the anti-corruption agency. No fewer than 15 farmers have been killed by bandits who attacked Yagamji village in Batari local government area of Katsina State. According to locals in the community, the victims were killed while working on their various farmlands on Monday. A spokesperson for the State Police Command, Gambo Issa, confirmed the incident, saying the bandits pursued the farmers to the forest, shooting and killing them. The attack comes hours after the Nigerian Army flagged off Exercise Sahel Sanity to mitigate the spate of insecurity in the northwestern states of Nigeria. Let's take a break here and we'll be right back. Do stay with us.
Hello. I'm Dr. Taufik Adeyemi, consultant orthopedic spine surgeon at National Orthopedic Hospital, Grovile, Lagos. I'm here on the platform of Scoliosis Focus Initiative program on World Scoliosis Day. Scoliosis is an abnormal sideway curvature of the spine with some rotation. These patients present with uneven shoulders, hump in the back, and even pelvis. Majority of these cases are painless. Up to 5% of our population have scoliosis, and majority of them are idiopathic, meaning that the cause is unknown. You need a thorough history examination with quality X-ray to make an assessment. Your doctor will advise you on the best treatment modality for your child. Scoliosis Focus Initiative is organizing a 2-week free online consultation to help you during this COVID-19 pandemic.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the go-to app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other Paper Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Give him his shoes somewhere here, his phone and everything.
Don't do like that again. No.
Thank you. So, bye-bye.
Hey,
Oga, where do you think you are going?
Oh, you never shake body.
Eh?
Then I don't get color.
You are asking for money.
Sorry, ma'am.
Asking for money to bail a suspect is an act of corruption. Both of you will be punished. Corruption is not allowed within the force. Remember,
police is your friend. Giving and taking bribe is wrong.
corruption, not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has confirmed 5 new cases of coronavirus in Cross River State. Before now, Cross River was the only Nigerian state without any confirmed case of COVID-19. The 5 cases have been confirmed to be the ones reported earlier in the state by the University of Calabar Teaching Hospital, Calabar. The Chief Medical Director of UCTH, Ipeme, had told the hospital staff via an internal memo that the tests were conducted in a laboratory approved by the NCDC in Abakaliki, Ebonyi State. The federal government might impose new COVID-19 lockdowns across the country. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 hinted this during its briefing in Abuja on Monday. The PTF chairman and secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, said they could not rule out the possibility of ordering a fresh total lockdown to curtail further spread of the virus. He said events of coming weeks would determine the next line of action. The SGF also advised prominent Nigerians to take COVID-19 protocols seriously, saying the virus is not a respecter of status.
I believe as the days and weeks ahead would present, I would not be speculative as to what would happen in the future, but we will do everything within our mandate to ensure the safety and the protection of the well-being of the people of Nigeria. If that would require a recommendation of a lockdown, this task force would not shy away from its responsibilities. We will take that decision. We will make our recommendations to Mr. President, who will finally decide. I've said it here that lockdowns might not be popular now, but what would happen in the preceding weeks would determine. Madagascar has imposed a lockdown in spite of its herbal cure.
The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has issued a guideline for safely conducting state and local government elections, especially as the COVID-19 pandemic threatens. Director General of the NCDC, Chikwehe Kwazu, disclosed this on Monday in Abuja during the briefing of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. He urged the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, political parties, politicians and election monitors to place a premium on the lives of the electorate by adhering strictly to the guidelines, bearing in mind that the deadly virus thrives in mass gatherings. The government encouraged all to comply with proactive and protective measures, limiting mass gatherings, ensuring physical distancing of at least 2 meters, promoting hand hygiene and a mandatory use of face masks.
This year, for the first time, we're holding elections of this significance during a pandemic. Therefore, we've developed these guidelines to support everyone involved, political parties, INEC, but most critically, Nigerians that will be going to vote in these difficult times. Voting still remains a civic responsibility, and even though we're in the middle of a pandemic, we have to find a way of doing this safely. We have to adapt to the new normal. And as we know, the virus thrives in mass gatherings. So there's a challenge that we have in the way we have conducted our elections, pre-election, during election, and post-election. So in these guidelines, we try and offer advice on how to do this safely. We strongly encourage the use of TV, radio, mobile vans, social media, and other forms of communication as we solicit for votes, as our politicians solicit for votes. We advise careful adherence to mass gathering guidelines.
We'll go on a short break here and we'll be right back. Do stay with us. Nigeria's Aviation Minister Hadi Sirika has announced fresh guidelines for all air travelers and flight operators ahead of reopening of airports in the country. Sirika, speaking at the PTF meeting on Monday, noted that all air travelers must wear face masks before they can be allowed access into the airport. He also revealed that air operators must decontaminate the surface of the aircraft every flight.
I'm happy to announce that the two airports involved that will start, Lagos and Abuja, have passed our tests and they've been approved for operations. Some of the airlines also have been approved to operate. So Lagos, Abuja, Kano are ready. Port Harcourt, Owerri are almost ready. They will be ready before they start. Kano got ready ahead of its starting time. But remember that we're beginning on Wednesday with Lagos and Abuja. So what we must ensure that we do, and what we are doing, is to enforce, to make by force for you to wear that your mask while you're seated. To ensure and enforce that you're wearing that your mask. So we put everything in place to ensure, because we have some cantankerous passengers worldwide, not peculiar to Nigeria, that want to use their phones when we say don't use phone, because they don't see the reason. Well, thank goodness, with COVID, you have seen the reason, because you know people die. So it will be very, very hard to ensure that you put your mask while you're seated. If you don't, we consider you as an unruly passenger. An unruly passenger is not allowed to board our aircraft. Once you are an unruly passenger, if you start to shout, just shout, yeah, and you're disturbing peace of aircraft, no, the captain will not go, you'll be dropped.
The Chinese government says it has confirmed a suspected case of another infectious disease known as the bubonic plague. This development comes a few months after the first outbreak of COVID-19 was reported in Wuhan, China. According to a Chinese news agency, one suspected case was reported in China's Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region. The Health Commission said the plague was diagnosed in a herdsman on Sunday, but he was in a stable condition, undergoing treatment at a hospital. The plague, which has existed for centuries, is one of the deadliest diseases in human history. However, it can now be treated with antibiotics. It is caused by a bacteria called Yersinia pestis that live in some animals, mainly rodents and their fleas. Some of the symptoms include painful swollen lymph nodes as well as fever, chills and coughing. The UK government has announced sanctions on 47 individuals and 2 North Korean organizations involved in different human rights violations and abuses. The new Magnitsky-style sanctions regime gives the UK powers to stop those involved in human rights abuses and violations from entering the country, channeling money through UK banks or profiting from the economy. The first wave of sanctions targeted 25 Russian nationals involved in the death of Sergei Magnitsky, an auditor who uncovered widespread Russian corruption by a group of tax and police officials, and 20 Saudi nationals involved in the death of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Others are 2 high-ranking Myanmar military generals involved in violence against the Rohingya people and 2 organizations involved in the forced labor, torture and murder that takes place in North Korea's Galax. French international winger Remy Grosso has signed a 1-year contract with Lyon, where he started his career. The club announced this in a statement released on Tuesday. The 31-year-old, who has 5 France caps and has also played for his country in Rugby Sevens, was a free agent after 3 seasons with Clermont. He played for Lyon from 2007 to 2013, helping the club win promotion to the top 14 twice, before leaving for Castres and then Clermont, where he helped the club win the French title in 2017. And that's it on the newsroom. Thank you for watching.